Well, howdy from Houston City Hall. My name's Bill Kelly. I'm the Director of Government Relations here for Mayor Turner. Very much appreciated the dialogue and the debate this evening with it on some very familiar topics to myself with it. I want to echo what the previous panel members have said with regards to the quality and really Nicholas in his last statement on being able to slow your voice down for emphasis really is a tool that you can use when you know you've got a strong point that rhetorically you've got, and just being able to put that fine point on it. I was a point of emphasis for me on my notes with it. So wanted to he kind of stole my thunder on it, but just wanted to reemphasize that because both of you clearly had extremely well researched, and not just well researched, but in the course of your dialogue, you could understand your breadth of knowledge on it. It's one thing to be able to repeat; it's another to understand. And the way that you both had a conversational ability to make your points, I think is very comforting for the listener on it, and helps them relate to you as you make your argument, because I think that's really important. One of the things I did want to point out that I believe both of your arguments started with was a visualization about a 911 call. And that's such a powerful image because I think people, when you talk about body cam footage and everything like that, people have it in their mind. And so when you talked about I believe it was a child with special needs where you had 4 officers show up, and then you had a mental health crisis on the other hand, that's really a powerful image. Being able to put that in context with it, maybe being able to refer back to that at the end. I think if you're making a case about, here is what I would like to do to change this situation, and you do have that powerful image, being able to refer back to that and tie a bow on it, I think we'll be able to give you a good wrap up with your arguments on it. Would also echo, watch for the extreme statements. Mohammed, you had used the term exorbitantly overfunded. Being able to say, instead of exorbitantly overfunded, being able to more concretely say funding for policing services has always been, the highest priority for local government, because it is. That's usually the last thing that we cut. And Sheriff Gonzalez is exactly right. City of Houston, for example, 91% of our HPD budget goes to personnel. So being able to just make it, because you do have a good point, it's the last thing, we're going to cut folks like myself, municipal workers, before we cut police officers. So you're right on the point, but just make sure that you phrase it correctly with it, because that kind of adds a very strong brick in your argument. Amaya, I thought your signposting was incredible on when you were saying, I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to tell you that, and then finally I'm going to tell you this. The only thing that I would add to that is you laid out the argument and was able to follow it perfectly on my sheet. Being able at the very end to maybe go through those 3 points very quickly, just to say, here's what I'm telling you, here's what I'm telling you, here's what I'm telling you, and here's what I told you, all 3. I think that really would tie up a lot of your really great points that you walked us through, and just nail it at the end there. Right? Again, very, very strong on both sides with it. The last thing that I would add to this discussion on it, just coming from my previous to working for Mayor Turner here, I was the Director of Government Relations for Mental Health America of Greater Houston. We've been working with the Houston Police Department's Mental Health Division for a number of years. Mohammed had referred to it as a public health, and used the term public health a couple of different times. One of the things that folks that deal with people who suffer from a mental illness, and the fewer situations that have mental health crises that come with it, is to be able to put that in the public health spectrum that it deserves to be in, right? When we have somebody break their leg, we have people that are trained to be able to deal with broken legs that show up, and EMS workers that deal with that. When we have people that are suffering from a mental illness, being able to say that is a health condition, it's literally a brain health condition, and showing up. I just think being able to understand and have that in the framework as the way you think about it. This isn't necessarily a weakness or anything that anybody could control, but just understanding, because we talked about Houston, the largest city in America that doesn't have Medicaid expansion, which is the #1 payer for behavioral health services. Houston, Texas, New York, LA, Chicago, they all have it. We don't. And that kind of exacerbates a number of our problems. So making sure that we put mental health services in that healthcare service frame, which they deserve to be in, I think is a good, important part. That's just kind of a personal riff on that you get from me, but exceptional job from everybody. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. It was great having you.